Oh friends, I want to speak to you about a moment when sound forgot itself and became devotion. There is a music that entertains, and there is a music that pleases the ear. But there is another music altogether, one that no longer belongs to the musician. It rises not to impress, not to perform, not to be admired, but because the heart has overflowed and sound is the only remaining language. This is the moment when music ceases to be art and becomes prayer. I knew a harper whose hands were skilled, but whose life was broken. Once, his music earned him praise and coins. People gathered to hear him, and he lived on their approval. But time passed, fortune turned, and the crowds disappeared. His fingers remained nimble, yet his heart was emptied of reward. One night, exhausted and unseen, he lay down with his heart beside him, believing his gift had failed him. What he did not know was that performance had finally released him. O seekers, when the harper played before, he played toward others. His sound traveled outward, seeking recognition. But in his poverty, his music turned inward. There was no audience left to impress, no ear to persuade. And in that loneliness, something unexpected happened. The notes became honest. They were no longer arranged to please. They trembled with need. And need, when it has nowhere to hide, becomes supplication. The harper began to play, not because he hoped to be heard, but because he could not remain silent. His fingers moved without ambition. His music stumbled, cracked, and wept. It carried no skillful structure, no clever variation. Yet, in that unguarded sound, sincerity entered. The music did not rise from technique, it rose from hunger. And hunger, when it is real, is already prayer. Oh friends, prayer does not require words. It requires truth. Many speak eloquently while remaining distant. Many recite devotion while guarding themselves carefully. But the harper's music carried no protection. It exposed him completely. His sound confessed what his mouth could not: helplessness, longing, and trust without guarantee. This is why his music reached beyond sound. It reached the place where listening is not done with ears. O seekers, understand this clearly. Devotion begins where performance ends. As long as you act to be seen, you remain outside prayer. Prayer begins when the self can no longer maintain its image. When you have nothing left to offer but what you are, sincerity appears. The harper did not become holy through music. He became honest. And honesty is the doorway devotion uses. I have seen people abandon prayer because they believe they have failed at it. They think prayer requires composure, correctness, and structure. They imagine devotion must look beautiful. But prayer that matters often sounds broken. It stammers. It sighs. It cannot complete its sentences. When music became prayer, it lost its polish and gained its power. O beloved ones, do not wait until your life is orderly to pray. Disorder is often the invitation. Do not wait until your voice is strong. Weakness carries its own music. When the harper played from loss, the sound traveled further than when he played from skill. This is not because loss is noble, but because it strips away pretense. What remains is real. The harper did not know that his music was being received. He did not play to be answered. He played because the heart, once emptied, could no longer remain silent. This is the purest form of devotion. It does not negotiate. It does not demand a response. It offers itself without condition. O friends, there will come a time when what once earned you praise no longer sustains you. Your gifts may seem useless. Your efforts may feel unseen. Do not despair too quickly. That moment may be the threshold. When what you relied upon for recognition fails, it may be returning to you as an offering. When music becomes prayer, it no longer seeks reward. It becomes an alignment. The harper did not regain his former life, but he gained something quieter and deeper. His sound was no longer separate from his need. His art was no longer an identity. It became a bridge between his brokenness and trust. And on that bridge, he stood honestly, without defense. O friends, if your voice cracks, let it. If your music falters, allow it. If your prayer feels awkward, unfinished, unworthy, continue. Prayer is not judged by elegance, but by truth. When sound rises from sincerity, it is already heard. And when music forgets itself, it remembers its source. When music became prayer, the harper was no longer a performer. He was a witness. And in that witnessing, something eternal listened. Not because the sound was perfect, but because it was real. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned for the next episodes.